All right, boys, I got a challenge for you both. Ready? Give me your best Boston impressions. I'll start. Park the car in Harvard Yard.
Park the car in Harvard Yard.
Oh, look at me, I'm Bo. I got 2 jerseys because I'm just so cool. How's that?
All right, so we have all of our submissions in. Cameraman Joe, who do you think won?
Definitely my man.
Yes,
Mike
sir. That's how we started off.
This is stupid
That's how we
contest
started
anyways.
off.
Roll it.
Let's roll it.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Oswego Sports Update. We're back at it like a bad habit, and we would like to thank you for staying up with us tonight.
Bars.
I'm your host, James Catato, joined by ya boys, Bo, drake-deese, and Mike Morano. We got content that's cooler than the other side of the pillow. Shout out to my idol, Stuart Scott. So let's not waste any time. Flip that pillow over and get this baby going. Kicking things off with some Oswego baseball. The club split the week 3-3 and just dropped a nail-biter against Ithaca in Ithaca. Bo, the Lakers played some really great competition this week. Their record currently stands at 15-8. Should they be hanging their heads at all?
No, I don't think so. I think, the game was just one of those mistakes can happen late in the ninth. When everything starts to heat up, especially against somebody who you're historically not good against. 7-24 all time against Ithaca. So, it's one of those things you can look at and say they had them right until the end. There's a lot to look forward to from this, and I think it was a good stepping stone for them. I think it was a good test.
I'm going to have to humbly disagree with you on that one.
Ooh.
I would like you to.
Yes, they split the series. I guess that's nice, 500. And you said, it all happens. They blew the lead in the ninth. I guess that's okay to you. But if you look deeper into these games, when they lost 11-5 to St. John Fisher, they gave up 7 runs in the eighth. When they lost St. John Fisher again, 13-8, they were winning 4-0. We could even keep going and going when they beat SUNY Canton. They gave up 2 runs in the ninth, even though it was a blowout, but they still gave up runs in the ninth. That's a problem. Is when you're giving up these runs constantly late in the game. That's something you have to fix. And even though you're winning these games, you have to be able to be that consistent and that dominant throughout the whole entire game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm saying specifically for an Ithaca game, I think that's not something that they can hang their head about, especially since I don't think it damages their record that bad. I think that they still look like a really good baseball team.
Still a super young team too.
And I get that, and I'm just here pointing out what they could fix, and obviously that's one of the problems they could fix. Also, leaving runners in scoring position. We see Lucas Olson after the home run they got to put themselves on the board. He had a triple, and they couldn't get him to home plate. And if they're losing by 1, that's a big run that they need. And it's just a game that they could have won, and it was so they were able to compete with them, and they just couldn't complete at the end.
Well, I think that the thing, and I wanted to highlight this, was that they had 10 hits. Obviously, the game ended 6-5. They had their opportunities, at the plate. The pitching that has been solid all year, and obviously, give credit to Ithaca where credit is due. When you're playing in their house, especially against a ball club like Ithaca, the pitching is not going to be as great as you thought as you think it might be. And their pitching is always dominant, Oswego's. I feel like that, since it was an out-of-conference matchup, it wasn't a doubleheader or a tripleheader for that matter. I think if you give that game a series, I think that the Lakers are able to snag at least one of those games if it's a series of 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one of the things that they just really need to work on is the fact that there was no closing through this entire series. Like, they were either like, oh, we're going to win it, or we're just really not going to win it.
So where do you think the Lakers go from here after splitting this week?
I think we need another load up of 3 games and see what they can look at for their momentum. I think if they get 3 really solid, if they get a nice 3-win streak under their belt by 2 runs, 1 run, any kind of win that they want to throw at us, I think that we can get them back on, and I see them making a really nice push.
Yeah, and if their offense keeps up, obviously these stats that I'm pointing out just because I'm being picky, obviously doesn't matter. It's just something that they need to fix, and if they're able just to minus those runs and just give up just a few less, just less. It's just going to be good news for them because those are just little things that they need to fix. And if they fix that, they're just a better, well-rounded team.
Yep, and they play Oneonta on Friday once and then play them on Saturday twice. So another triple-header opportunity on the weekend at home for the Lakers to bounce back. Moving on to women's lacrosse, the ladies took on the Potsdam Bears this past weekend and walked away with a 15-11 win on home turf. They both put 31 shots on frame and were pretty even down the stretch. It was a great win, and the Lakers are now 2-2 in the SUNYAC. Mike, with the meat of their conference still to play, how do they ride this conference momentum into the tournament?
Looking forward, it was a good bounce-back win, but they have to play Geneseo, which is a team that they're not good at historically. They're 2-8 against them in the last 10 games, and on the road, that puts them in an even bigger disadvantage. They're good offensively, and they put a lot of shots on net, but playing these teams like this, if they could win, that's a great, that's just a great win for them, and that just, who knows who they can go on from there. But this is going to be a real test of what they could do, especially in Geneseo, a team that they're not good at in the past.
Yeah, I think the interconference play is kind of something that you're highlighting there, which is going to be important for them, because obviously they're 2-2, which doesn't 2-2 in conference play doesn't necessarily speak to the rest of their record, which is kind of iffy. But one of the things that I think they really need to do is just ride their momentum. If you just keep making sure that you're aggressive and you make sure that you're making moves where you need to make moves and keeping those shots on net. It's one of those things, you don't know what's going to happen. You just got to stay with it.
Yeah, and they have to just look past those statistics. We see a lot of the times. Usually those statistics don't matter. They just have to look at the game in front of them. If they go into this game thinking, we've lost 8 of 10 against this team, they're not going to do well and they're not going to fare well. It's just something that they have. It's something to keep in the back of your head as extra motivation. But at the end of the day, you just have to focus on the game in front of you.
Exactly.
Yeah, they outscore their opponents 120-93. They definitely displayed it against Potsdam, and it's going to be interesting to see how they respond with the rest of their SUNYAC schedule ahead of them. In this week's Lakers Sports Preview, it's a Saturday matinee as the baseball team takes on Oneonta, like we mentioned earlier, at high noon and 3 p.m., while the men's lax team plays Plattsburgh at 1. Give me some predictions, boys. What are we thinking for these games?
Baseball team, it's a win-win-win. I'm telling you.
Ooh. Sweep in the weekend. I like it. I like the prediction.
Yeah, I like the baseball team. I like, offense has been great. It's just something that they have to fix. And I'm not saying they're doomed. I'm just saying that I just think that they're so good that I could, pick these out and they could still win these games. I mean, they're putting up, we've seen past 20-plus runs some games.
Yeah, like come on.
This is unheard of, and especially in baseball. And if they're beating guys like Ithaca or getting close to it or at least leading, who knows what they could do to the rest of the teams they face.
Yeah, I think especially even with just Oneonta, I mean, they're 12-13, so I mean that's easy money for the Lakers.
So obviously, you have a couple of upcoming games after Oneonta. You have Alfred State, you have Cortland, and then you play Ithaca again at home this time. Where do you see the Lakers falling in terms of record at the end of the season? Do you think that they break 20 wins, 22 wins?
I think so, because like I said, I think this is a sweep. So I think that for this weekend's going to be a sweep. So I really think that they're able to grind out one more nice win after that. I could see them beating Ithaca at home to get that 20th win.
So what about the men's lacrosse team? What do you think that they need to do to be able to move past their current competition in Plattsburgh? Tough matchup for them as always. Where do you think they need to go from here after if they're able to defeat Plattsburgh?
Keep the momentum. They just have to ride momentum, and they have to string a couple of wins together like they've been doing, and they could just keep riding that. Keep the shots on net. Again, it's going to be the same dialogue you hear all the time. Keep the shots on net. Keep the pressure on, and if you're keeping pressure on and keep shots on, they're going to keep getting those up. They're going to keep getting goals.
Yeah, stay aggressive. Eat what you kill.
I like it. When we come back, Bo is wearing the jerseys for a reason. The Bruins, the Red Sox, we're talking about it all. We got Boston for headline hits and talk of the town. Stay tuned. You are watching OSU.
You look good.
You don't have to wear a uniform for service or sacrifice. Every day, ordinary Americans perform extraordinary acts of courage and selfless service. Please join us in recognizing citizen heroes who have made a difference in the lives of others through their acts of courage and selfless service in communities across America. Nominate a citizen hero today at themedalofhonor.com.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Here at WTOP, we pride ourselves on delivering you all the news you need to know from the day's events.
Whether it's happened on Capitol Hill or right here in Oswego,
We make sure you know all about it. We keep you up to date on all your favorite
Oswego and professional sports.
And our Storm Team 10 meteorologists will make sure that you know exactly what weather you're up against when you start your day.
Every Monday through Thursday night, make sure to tune in to Channel 10.2, because at WTOP, we don't just tell you the news.
We are
the news.
Welcome back to OSU. Get your chowder ready and pack your bags, because we're going to Boston, literally.
Okay.
Bo and I are going to Boston on Wednesday. We are pumped for it. I'm about to beat him one-on-one at his own house. I
will ruin you in the driveway.
We got headline hits, Beantown edition. Let's not waste any time. Starting at TD Garden. The truth, Paul Pierce may have told a lie, saying he was better than and had a better career than Dwayne Wade. Pierce had one ring compared to Dwayne's 3 and averaged less points per game while making less all-star teams. Mike, are you buying this, or do you think Pierce is full of it?
Why can't Paul Pierce just let D-Wade have his moment? He's about to retire. Why can't he just stay back and not say anything? Paul Pierce I just think he's just being so insecure for no reason. I think Wade is obviously the better guy. As we look at his stats here, Wade's averaged 22 points, 4.7 rebounds, and 1.5 steals in his career. And that even just goes even higher with playoffs in there with 22 points. We have a feeling why Paul Pierce retired in LA and not in Boston, and D-Wade's retiring in Miami.
So you see the comparisons there, obviously, 19 to 16 seasons in favor of Pierce, 19.7 points per game compared to the 22. More rings under Wade's belt. Obviously, it's Dwayne Wade, and the fact that he has a farewell tour, I think, speaks for itself over Pierce while he was rotting on the Clippers bench. Sticking to Fenway, it's been rumored that second baseman Dustin Pedroia could be available for the home opening game against the Toronto Blue Jays on Tuesday. Sticking with Mike here, what difference does Pedroia make to this team, if at all, when he returns?
What did you say? You say Dustin Pedroia?
Dustin Pedroia.
He's still playing?
35
that guy's
years
still
old.
playing? Are we going to get David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez back on this team too to help them?
Okay, relax.
The guy who hasn't played, who has only played 3 games in 2018, that's the guy that we're going to look to here? I'm sorry, you start out 3-8. There's no excuses. There's no veteran presence that you're going to say that's going to make me believe the Red Sox are going to compete now with him. I'm sorry. You just write it out. They won a World Series without him for a reason.
I mean, I think that if Pedroia is able to at least provide a locker room presence, it's going to benefit the Red Sox greatly. Moving to TD Garden once again, well, sort of. The Pacers and the Celtics are 1 game apart in the playoff picture, and with 1 game remaining in both of their seasons, game 82 coming up here, they're only 1 game apart. The Pacers are behind, and if the Pacers can win their last game and the Celtics lose their last game, the Pacers would own the tiebreaker and then follow with home court advantage in the first round of the 2019 playoffs. Bo, how crucial is it that Boston is able to nab this win in their 82nd game and get the home court advantage into the playoffs?
I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say that as long as they have home court advantage, it's going to be everything for them, and they're going to take that momentum that they're going to get from Boston and move it all the way through the playoffs and absolutely steamroll the Pacers. I cannot say that because their away record and the record at home are almost identical. There might be a separation of 4 or 5 games. Like, it literally makes no sense to me why we should do that, but we're in the playoffs. #forward. Shout out to Sean Chenette.
Well,
get it.
all Celtics fans want them to do well in the playoffs, so we'll see what happens. Mike, this one's coming to you. Oh, psych! That's the wrong number.
I don't get that. What was the point of that?
The Boston Bruins are clinched in the NHL playoffs and only have the Tampa Bay Lightning ahead of them as the kings of the Eastern Conference. They are their toughest competition. What threat does Boston pose to the very threatening Tampa Bay, and how is their current play going to reflect on their playoff run?
Well, I think Boston poses the absolute biggest threat to Tampa Bay, not just because they are second in the Eastern Conference, but because they have the actual firepower to put up the numbers against Tampa Bay. They've proved that. Even though that they are 1-3 against Tampa Bay, it comes down, for me, it comes down to two very simple things. Lazy defense in transition by the Bruins. And then lastly, I'm looking at you, Bruce Cassidy. You have to start Yaroslav Halak over Tuukka Rask. He's a liability on high firepower teams.
It doesn't matter who you start in net because the Tampa Bay Lightning are a very solid offensive team and give anybody hell no matter who is on that defense. Moving on to talk of the town, the defending world champ Boston Red Sox are currently tied for the worst record in the American League East. Who would have seen this one coming? Currently sitting at 3-8. The Sox are tied with the Blue Jays and will host the Jays tomorrow and Thursday. Bo and I will be there on Thursday. I will be booing the Red Sox. You will be cheering them on. I'm a Yankees fan. You know how it is.
Wow,
Mike, I'll actually start with you this time. How important is this series for the Red Sox to win, and what weaknesses have they shown so far that might make opponents excited?
I guess it's just this World Series hangover, if you want to put it that way. But it goes down deeper than that. They're giving up runs late. They've had the lead, and they're just giving it up. They're blowing leads. It doesn't seem like the team's just clicking together this time. It seems like they're not having the match they did last year. They did start out kind of rough last year and kind of put it together, but now people, and myself including, are questioning if they can kind of bounce back from this. They have been playing on the road. That could be a factor. This is their first home series. I guess you could say this is a big series for them just because at home, and now it's going to try to really test them to see how they could do. But again, it is April. I'm not going to jump the gun.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm wearing a jersey right now, and I'm not afraid. I'm just not. Like, I think. Listen, we talked about this beforehand. And we will debate this to no end. Me and James. The thing is that I still do not think that the Red Sox will move forward and play well in the later half of the season and look back on these 2 weeks in April and say that this is what made or broke the series. Like, they will find their stride eventually. We talked this way about the Houston Rockets.
We've been talking about this last week when we talked about the Yankees. We talked about this before the show even started. And here's the point that I'm going to make to you, Bo, is that these teams in the American League, you play in such a strong division that the two teams that might possibly be under you, in the Yankees and the Rays, are looking like they could both get 95 wins this year.
Ooh,
and here's the thing, is that when you're competing for a wild card spot in such a strong division where the two other teams in the American League East that are predominant could be both of the wild card spots, and then you go outside of that where you have the Tigers right now that are 7-3, they come out of nowhere, but then the Cleveland Indians that always ramp it up towards the end of the season. Then you have the Astros, the Mariners. The Athletics can also bounce back. These are teams that are going to give the Red Sox a run for their money. And the point that I'm trying to make is that the Red Sox could be regretting this down the road because you have to come to play games 1 to 162. There is no time that you should be taking off in baseball.
Listen, the idea is not that they're taking times off. The idea is that it's so early in the season, we still have to work out our kinks. Mike Morano said this very eloquently last time, is that this part of the season is to find out what your problems are and how you can fix them.
I do remember saying that.
You did say
I do remember that.
With the actual players from the team, not your pull-ups who you're trying to get into your system during spring training.
And if they are going to have a disappointing season, I understand that. If that happens, people aren't going to be like, well, those games in April, that's why. They're going to be like, no, the pitching wasn't great. The team itself just didn't click. And that's where they're going to go at. They're not going to go, well, that series against the Blue Jays, I don't know. That could have went either way. Joe Panzarino said it best. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, baby.
This is what it is. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think the Red Sox are going to be okay at the end of the day, but I'm a very big advocate for dropping these games early on and how they might come back to bite you in the butt at games 150 to 162. We'll see how they do. Moving on to the TD Garden, Bo, I'm going to lay out two scenarios for you.
I want them.
The Celtics clinch the 4th seed. Play the Indiana Pacers in the first round at home. They lose in 7 games. 7th game, they lose at TD Garden, and they get bounced from the playoffs in an embarrassing fashion. Or they play how they're supposed to, make a playoff run through the Eastern Conference, and end up finding themselves in the NBA Finals. Bo, Break down both of these scenarios for me. What happens to the organizations in either of these situations? Who stays, who goes?
Well, I think if you get bounced in the first round of the playoffs, that Kyrie guy is out of here. There's no reason for him to stay at that point if you're just going to get bounced from the playoffs in the first round. I don't think that he's going to look at rebuilding the team from there. All he's going to do is try to find some place where either he's going to go there and other people are going to follow him, or he can just hop right into another system and be effective right away. I'm not even thinking about the NBA Finals for the Boston Celtics at this point, if I'm being honest. I am right now thinking about how do we get to the Eastern Conference Finals? Because at the end of the day, we're playing the Indiana Pacers, and who knows what's going to happen.
Well, remember, this team has never played in the playoffs together. This combination, this specific combination of players with Kyrie with
would
Gordon
be wise
Hayward,
to remember that.
With Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, all of these young studs that have been able to step in for the Celtics have now taken a decreased role, and I think that hurts them.
I think Kyrie is honestly just looking for an excuse to leave. I think if they make it to the finals, he might be inclined to stay because now he sees hope. But if they get bounced out, what is the point of him staying? He's just going to want to go to a bigger market team, and he's just going to want to try to find success there. Brooklyn Nets. But, no plug there. I think it all depends on what the playoffs is. And Kyrie, if they get bounced, I think he's gone.
So who do they pursue, the Boston Celtics specifically, if they get bounced early and they lose Kyrie Irving? Bo, I'll start with you.
Oh, man. They made one of the things that I thought they were really going to try and push for was Anthony Davis during the season, just because of it seemed like him and Kyrie, that kind of tandem would be crazy for them during the season. I don't know if anybody could really think that was going to be a thing. I think that they can make another push for that for him to try and get him there. Maybe if he leaves, maybe they make a push if Kyrie leaves, maybe they make a push for Kemba Walker. I don't know.
So when you look at this Celtics squad, I don't know why, even if you're Kyrie, because you can't really get much better than the Boston Celtic market, other than Los Angeles and New York, maybe, but the Celtics are in a much better position to win. And if you look at the landscape of this Eastern Conference, I really only see the Milwaukee Bucks as the team that's going to pose a threat to these Celtics for a while. I think that the 76ers lose Jimmy Butler after this year. I think, my prediction, the Sixers get upset by the Nets in the first round in 7 games.
You think that?
I think that.
Because I think that.
I think that. And here's the thing, is that I think that makes them lose Jimmy Butler. I also think that the Raptors may lose Kawhi Leonard regardless of the outcome, because I think that Los Angeles is a more tantalizing destination for him.
Guys, I also think that the Sixers get bounced in the first round.
I think we're just a bunch of Sixers haters, to be honest.
Did this happen?
That's it. But here's I think this is the first time in OSU history, documented, that we have all agreed on the exact same thing. Dap me up, dap me up.
I'm sorry. I'm writing this down.
Writing it down.
What's the
Listen,
date?
the Celtics are too good of a core to split up. If I'm Danny Ainge, I'm really trying to keep Kyrie regardless of the result. But the Celtics, they're playing a really tough team without Oladipo and the Indiana Pacers. We'll see how it plays out. But for a team that may have a chance of upsetting the Sixers in the playoffs, when we come back, the Nets fan in the room, Mike Morano, can finally rejoice as Brooklyn has officially clinched a playoff spot. Mike gives you his final take next. He is incredibly excited for it. Stay tuned. You are watching Oswego Sports Update.
Guys, I don't feel so good. Shouldn't have had that chili for lunch.
When you are in space, you can't run down to the store to buy parts. You have to improvise with what you have on your mission. Making is when there is something new that was not in existence at the beginning of the day. Okay. It's an incredible sense of accomplishment when you have made something. That's why I make. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Hello?
Josh, the stream's not working. We need you to fix it right now.
The stream's down? I'll be right there.
Back in August, ESPN made their NBA win-loss projection and stand-in predictions. One hot take they had was the Los Angeles Lakers would be the 6th seed in the Western Conference with 46 wins, and at the time, I guess I can't blame them. On the other side, they gave no love to the Brooklyn Nets, who were predicted to be the 10th seed with only 32 wins. Although they gave the Nets a few more wins, they had this to say about Brooklyn. General Manager Sean Marks and Coach Kenny Atkinson have done a nice job getting an asset-deprived program back on the road to respectability. But it's reflective of just how poor the bottom of the East is and that the Nets are pegged to finish above 5 teams during the rare instance they actually have their first-round pick. Oof, that's kind of harsh. Well, here we are in April, and I'm sure this is an article ESPN would most likely want you to forget. Their beloved Lakers are sitting pretty in that 10th spot while the Nets search that 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. And last night, the Nets did the absolute unthinkable and clinched a playoff spot for the first time in 25 years. Okay, well, maybe not 25. It was more like 5 years, but it definitely felt like 25. I mean, can you blame me? They have consecutive seasons in the cellar of the Eastern Conference that took so many years off of so many Brooklyn Nets fans' lives. It seems like 2015 was just so far away. And even in that season, the team snuck into the 8th seed with a record well under 500. And that season, they were just delaying the inevitable of a rebuild they certainly did not want to endure. But they bit the nail and toughed it out. It became a learning experience for a lot of the young guys who were going through those seasons, such as Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Karis LeVert. They developed a certain Brooklyn grit, if you will. Anyways, the Nets had a lot of bright spots this year with the team they were given. The Nets did not have any certain superstars going into the season, but they did make them along the way. D'Angelo Russell put away his phone and got to grinding for a franchise that actually got behind him and gave back and became an all-star for the first time in his career and is a big candidate for the most improved player. The young guys like Spencer Dinwiddie, Jarrett Allen, and your 2019 three-point contest winner Joe Harris shined. And we saw the comeback of Karis LeVert, who came to ball with a vengeance after his gruesome injury. The veterans on the team, such as Jared Dudley and Ed Davis, have done their role of grooming these guys to become everyday NBA players. Chemistry has been a driving force for the Nets, and with that behind them, they could certainly make noise in the playoffs. Whether or not they make the playoffs or make it past the first round, people in Brooklyn and the one fan from Staten Island, I don't know who that is, can be proud of what the Nets did that season. Thanks for watching. Be sure to stay tuned next week as we give you a double dose in the Quaker State. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, we are featured cities. Thanks for tuning in and staying up with us tonight. See you next Monday.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
It's me, you, anyone that wants to be.
There is no typical firefighter.
Pretty good today, pretty good.
Yeah, I thought he called a pretty fair game.
Come on, man, that was a weak call.
Yeah, man, that ref is totally soft.
You might not know everyone in your community, but if you did, you'd see that people in recovery from mental and substance use disorders are all around. Reach out for support and begin your recovery journey. Join the Voices for Recovery. Strengthen families and communities.
For confidential information on mental and substance use disorders, including prevention and treatment referrals for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.